Yes, sir.
We're back. We're back. I'm putting my notes app on the other screen. All right, we're back.
Let me try. Let them know. Perfect. All right, let's text. I'm going to text our league. We're live.
Yeah, they should. Everyone's got to have their notifications on when we go live. Just shoots out to their phones.
I know Bedick will probably join. He ditched us for today, though. So, do you have all the questions I have on there? Let me go over them real quick.
Yeah.
I had set up a few of them to argue against him because
Okay.
I knew we were on opposite sides on a few of them.
Okay.
So, yeah, you can ask me all of them. I'm fine with it.
Should we? Okay.
So maybe you can take out.
Maybe like the.
I'm gonna just delete the last two. Actually, no, I'm just gonna delete the last sentence because I'm giving everyone a bunch of guys I'm targeting anyway. Yeah, all good. So let's see, and I'll move that to the later. All right, perfect. All right, we're all set. You want to wait a couple minutes to start, or you want to start?
Whenever you're ready, bro. Whenever you're ready, just let me know. We'll clip it, for the not live for the audio.
All right, perfect. I got to make up a diet smoke read in my head. The new pens, they're fantastic.
Nice.
All right. 1, 2, 3. We're back, baby. Nick and Bean Pod 2024 season. Nick, time's flying. How are you, brother?
I'm good, man. Can't complain. Back. Football's back. That's never a bad thing.
Yeah, we're close, man. 2 weeks from tonight. 2 weeks and 18 minutes from tonight. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, incredible first game, first night in Kansas City. Oh my God, I can't even wait. And on top of that, we got college football week 0, few games this weekend. Florida State's playing in Ireland. I mean, we're back, man. It's just a great time of the year in Ireland, in Dublin. So that's exciting. Nice. But yeah, I mean, NFL, we're very close. So
shout out to the league for making that the first game in that stadium.
Yeah,
it's going to be loud. It's going to be a
great game. And I mean, last year Chiefs Lions was a great game as well. Even though Kelsey and Chris Jones weren't playing, it was still a solid game. All right. Well, before we get started, as always, 4th year in a row, 4th year of this pod, Nick.
I was going to ask how many it was.
That's incredible. And we're brought to you by Diet Smoke. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. Still our main sponsor. We do have a few other sponsors in line for this year after an incredible year 3. But Diet Smoke, code Nick and Bean, E on the end of that. And let me show you something right here. For our listeners, I am pulling up the brand new Diet Smoke pen. Fits all the different cartridges, Delta 8, Delta 9, strong stuff, weak stuff. I mean, they've got everything, guys. Gummies, tinctures, drinks, vapes, everything you could ever imagine. Diet Smoke's the best company. They have something for everyone. It's not light, it's just right. Code Nick and Bean. Now, tell me about how was your summer? How was the off season? Have you been studying? You ready? Like, give me something. What's going on in Nick's life right now?
It was a good off season. Went to Italy in the spring.
What?
Yeah.
Italy?
Yeah.
Damn. You're living, man.
Well, the spring was a while ago at this point, bro.
That's true. It feels like yesterday. So you went to Italy for how long? A couple weeks?
Italy in the spring. No, it was 7 days, I want to say.
Nice.
So that was nice. And then Brazil in the summer. That was also nice. So I had a good off season. You know what I mean? Started running a lot, actually.
Oh, yes.
Ran half marathon. So I've been doing running, and then I started jiu-jitsu like maybe a few months ago. So that's been another new thing that I've been doing. So I've been having a good off season. Been staying busy.
Love to hear it. Little concerned about how much you've been running. Being a football guy and a running guy, it's tough to do both. But happy to hear you had a good off season. We took a couple trips, worked a lot, kids. We went to the beach house for a week, went to North Carolina for a little. I mean, it was a great off season, but it feels fantastic to be back. And before we get into this year, I'm going to break down the pod real quick of what we're going to do today. Nick and I each have a few future bets. Okay. These are going to be a mixture of team futures, player props that we're going to give out. And we did really well last year overall. So I want to dive in. And then after that, I have a big fantasy preview for everyone. Nick's going to ask me a ton of this or that players. I've got my guys for this year. And let me tell you, let's recap last year.
You getting out the sauce, dog?
I will give it. Yeah. I mean, we have one league left together. My two big leagues have already drafted. Me and you have a league together, but I'm not worried about you. And we have a couple other listeners that may be in that draft, but that's all right. I got to give to the people. Everyone's got their drafts in these next 2 weeks. I've had my big leagues behind me, so I'm going to give out my guys and a bunch of other stuff at the end of the show.
Okay.
Rolling into that, 3 fantasy leagues I won last year. It was a fantastic year. And on top of that, I had 2 others that lost in the semis. I mean, I could have won every league I had. It was fantastic. I won the league I commissioned that you're in and sent out an incredible
cheater.
Oh, he think I cheated? Yeah. When you're really good, people think you cheat. I mean, it's simple as that. So that was great. 3 fantasy wins. My betting. I'm gonna read our 3 records for the year, including Prop God, who just destroyed. But I was 25, 22, and 2. You were 25 and 20 after finishing the year 3-0 in the divisional round. And Prop God, I mean, 22 and 9. He'll be on next week. We'll have a bigger preview for the season next week, rolling into the week 1 after that. But I mean, Prop God just absolutely crushed. Rod is in the building. Pat's in the building. Pat, what's good? Rod, what's good? Beedick's in the building. We're live. God, it feels good to be back. So let me recap those. 25, 22, and 2 for me. Nick was 25 and 20. Prop God, 22 and 9. I know Nick didn't win any fantasy leagues, so I won't even ask him.
I got in third in one league, so I got a little bit of money back for that. We have like a Wings Day, so it's good to actually be playing for something that week. You know what I mean?
Got it. So Nick finished third and 1. Really proud
very,
of you.
Very bad season. Yeah, it was a very bad season.
Well, the good thing is you can make up for it now. You did your draft in our other league. I'm not so sure about it. But we're gonna read those at the end. We're gonna read your team and mine, and we're gonna post them on Instagram for everyone to vote who had the better draft in my league. Now,
I wish you would have told me that before. I could have put a side-by-side visual on the YouTube.
Well, we'll do it after. I should have told you. I got home 6:30 from work, barely made it here. So props to me.
It's not like you have kids or anything. Come on.
Yeah, barely got home, put the kids to bed. I'm here. I wouldn't miss this for the world. So let's do it. How many future bets do you have? So I know. I have 3, and you have 3 or 4 or 5. What do you got here?
I'm going to give out, I think, 4. And then since next week, are we going to pod next week or we're going to pod the week before the games? What are you doing?
To be determined. We'll either have a pod.
I want to give out more futures, but I think I'll have more futures before the season starts.
So we'll probably do a pod in 2 weeks, the week of week 1. Yeah, the week of the game. So why don't you lead us off? Give us your first prop future of the season.
My first prop future of the season is David Njoku over 67.5 receptions plus 100 at Bet Online. He had 81 receptions last year. I think 120 plus targets. I think this year's another year where he'll have like at least 100 targets, maybe 90 on the low end. I think he's easy to go over 67.5 as long as he doesn't have some like high ankle sprain that gets him for 3 weeks. That's why I typically like to stay away from player overs in these things for season longs. But this one I'm on the over.
Okay. All right. Njoku was great down the stretch with Flacco. We'll see what Deshaun can do. Honestly, I think the best case scenario for Njoku is Deshaun doesn't play or gets hurt, and Jameis will throw him 1,000 balls. Okay. So you got Njoku over 67.5 catches. And to your point before, whenever you're going through these season-long player props, the overs always feel too good to be true sometimes. And you got to remember they are accounting for injury. Romy Rome in the chat. What's good, brother? We missed you. Appreciate you here. And let me give out my first prop. Actually, this is a regular season wins total. Okay. Normally, I want to fire the over on a lot of these, but I'm going under for this first total. Got to lay a little juice. It's minus 145. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills under 10.5 wins. Okay. They can still win 10 games and make the playoffs here, but they're vacating their top 2 receivers. Okay. They've lost a lot on defense. Jordan Poyer, Tre'Davious White, Matt Milano just got hurt for the season. This team just doesn't have the firepower that it had a year ago. They're relying on a rookie receiver in Keon Coleman, a second-year tight end in Kincaid, who I actually love, but it's just not what it was. You already got Curtis Samuel dealing with turf toe. You never want to see that. He was dealing with a toe injury all of last season. So I just think in a tough division, they're going to have a tough schedule as the division winner last year. So I really think that they win 9 or 10 games, probably still sneak in the playoffs just because Josh Allen's so damn good. But I'm going to take them under 10.5 wins. That's probably my favorite bet I saw on the board. Nick, what else you got?
I'm going to stick with the tight end props.
Oh, what are you, a tight end connoisseur now?
No, this one just kind of stuck out to me. And it's not because I think the tight end isn't good, right? So I saw over under 800.5 yards for Dalton Kincaid. And I was like, I'm going to take the under there at minus 115. I think he's going to have a lot of targets, just like Njoku, probably like 100 targets, maybe like 90 targets. But I think he ends up with, it's like, if this number was 750 yards, I probably wouldn't have been on the under. But 800 yards, I was like, okay, he'll have a good season. He'll get like 760 yards, 730 yards. You know what I mean? And it'll go under, I believe. And then you got to account for injuries on a season-long bet. So
I'll give you good news. Prop God is in the chat, and he loves that bet. Okay, so that is good news for you. 22 and 9 on the year last year. Probably the best gambler on the planet. So if he agrees with you, that's good. I personally disagree. I think he goes over 800 yards. But let's roll into mine. Okay, so you got your 2 tight end bets. Yeah. I love this next bet. Okay, and he's a Dolphin. All right, and spoiler alert, he's a target in fantasy for me. I have him ranked way higher than consensus. Okay. Jalen Waddle to go over 1,000 yards for the season. All right.
I like it.
Now, you'll tell me, hey, he always misses games, right? He always gets hurt a little bit. He's injury prone. Well, great. All right. Let me read you something. First 3 seasons in the NFL, 1,015, 1,356, and even last year, missing games, 1,014 yards. So he's been in the league 3 years, been over 1,000 every single year. And reports out of Dolphins camp from all the players, including Tyreek Hill, were last year they got a little too obsessed with trying to get Tyreek to 2,000 yards, and our offense wasn't as good the last half of the year. I think they stay committed to the plan. I love Jalen Waddle this year in fantasy. I think he easily gets over 1,000 yards, and I think even if he misses 3 or 4 games, I still think he hits this. So this is a bet I absolutely love. I think it's minus 110. Yeah, minus 110, over 1,000 yards. Jalen Waddle, go Fins. Nick, give me your third. Well, not your third and final. Give me your third bet.
Yeah, so my third bet here is Detroit plus 135 to win the NFC North. They play most of their games indoor this year. They're returning a lot of the same players. Same great offensive line is there. The consistency, you got Dan Campbell. I don't know that they'll compete for like a Super Bowl or something, but I don't know that they'll make it to the Super Bowl, but they're going to be one of those teams that's going to be in the conversation for competing for a Super Bowl. And I wouldn't be shocked to see them in the NFC Conference Championship game again. I do like San Francisco to probably beat them though, if they do make it there. I think San Francisco also is a team that has like a lot of leeway because they could lose their quarterback and be fine. No other team, I don't think, could lose their quarterback and be fine. But yeah, this bet is Detroit plus 135 to win the NFC North.
Got it. And Detroit does play, I think, every game. I don't think they play outdoors till like week 14 or week 15, which is great for them.
They can
I
lose.
think
You're telling me they can lose 8 games? I'm in.
so. I don't think they can lose 8 games. And it's
7?
possible. Now, to
There's a
play
bye.
devil's advocate there, the division seems a lot better. You know,
That's true.
Minnesota is probably the worst team by far. The Bears look, you know, Caleb Williams is the guy. They could be better. The
They could be
Packers
better.
is going to be your trouble, okay? And I think the Packers are a very polarizing team. Some people are all in on their skill guys, their team in general. For me, I'm not sure. I don't know if Jordan Love is as good as he was for the last 8 to 10 games last year. If he is, your bet's in trouble. If he's not, and Green Bay comes out and they have film on him for a year and he just doesn't look as good, I think this is going to be an easy winning bet at plus 135. We know Detroit's good. We know they were a half away from the Super Bowl, so they're a solid team.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like we know what the Detroit product is. Those other ones, we're not sure that season throughout a season that they're gonna perform. Caleb Williams looks good, sure, but he actually hasn't done it. So like at plus 135, I think it was the longest odds for any division winner. So I like that bet.
You mean the shortest odds, or was it the longest?
Yeah, because there's people that like minus 200 to win their division and stuff.
True. All right, sounds good. I got one last one for you. This is the pay homage to the prop god, and I really like this one. All right, I think kickers are getting better. You see, Aubrey is
Wasn't the longest odds. Sorry, the Jets are plus 180, and the
the
Bengals
Jets
are
are
plus 140.
the Jets are favored.
Yeah,
God, how fucking
on
stupid are these people?
Hard Rock bet. Oh no, it's tied with the Bills. Plus
All right,
180.
how dumb are these people? Rodgers is probably gonna die week 1. All right,
Sorry for
Beedick,
the interruption.
Beedick. Here we go. 62.5 is the line. All right. We are going over for the longest field goal on the season. All right. We got Aubrey. We got Tucker. We got Bucker. We got a lot of games. We got 17 weeks, an extra week. And I think someone is going to have a field goal longer than 62.5 yards. I think Aubrey already did it in the preseason, to be honest. And it's actually at minus 105. So you're getting a little bit better than the standard minus 110. We're going to take over 62.5. And I'm going to read you back my 3 now. We're going Bills under 10.5 wins. We're going Waddle over 1,000 yards. And we're going 62.5 over longest field goal of the season.
And I'm just keeping it at 3 bets. Kincaid under 800.5 yards, minus 115. Njoku over 67.5 receptions. And Detroit to win the NFC North at plus 135.
Got it. I like it. And also something to throw out there, and this will probably tie into fantasy players for me, and we'll dive into that in a second. You could always throw Mahomes to win the MVP in your betting, or the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. They're both like plus 500, plus 600. I think they're both always pretty decent bets. Obviously, three-peating would be very tough, but if you have a big bet and you get down to it, you can always hedge. So I don't hate. I'd probably lean Mahomes MVP because, spoiler again, I just love him this year. So let's get in. So just for everyone, Nick does have another draft that he's kind of keeping some guys close to his chest for fantasy. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to give you a handful of guys that I am targeting. And then Nick is going to, we actually had a segment for Prop God and I to answer these questions and argue each side. I'm just going to give you my side of each. And then when Prop God comes on in a couple weeks, he'll give you some of my guys for the season, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to give you a handful of people that I want on my fantasy teams. And I've done 2 auction drafts so far, my 2 biggest leagues for the year. But here's some guys I am targeting and I'm higher on than the consensus. The first one is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, you may say, well, he's a first-round pick, right? I mean, whatever. Well, for me, he's in contention if I had the first pick overall in a snake draft. Okay. I am totally fine taking Amon-Ra number 1, especially in full PPR. I think it's a no-brainer. Tyreek is 1A and 1B for me when it comes to receivers. McCaffrey's a little banged up, but those three guys for me are the first pick of the draft. So if I'm going a little bit safer, I'm going Amon-Ra. Obviously, Reek is a freak, and Christian McCaffrey is the best running back by far. But for me, I just love Amon-Ra. He is so. I think most people have it Tyreek or CeeDee Lamb 1-2, and
Yeah.
then Chase, and then Amon-Ra Jefferson right there. So for me, he's like 3 slots higher. I want him over Lamb. I want him over Chase and Jefferson for sure. So that's my number one guy. I see Beedick's got Anthony Richardson TD. Will you, Prop God, tell us more about that? I'm not sure what you mean there.
He wants to know the numbers.
Or look up the numbers for him. Next guy on my list, my running back 7 overall, Isaiah Pacheco. I think he's normally like 9 to 11 in people's rankings. I think he's going to have a great season. Next, he just scored on TV. Anthony Richardson. There we go. Sorry, we're locked in, Beedick. We're here for the people.
Come on, man.
And spoiler, I hate Anthony Richardson this year. Dumpster fire.
I think he's going to be good for fantasy.
Oh, I think he's going to be good. Everyone's going to be good. Okay. He has a chance to be good for He has a chance to be good for fantasy. Everyone loves him. He's going number 1 quarterback in some leagues. Top 3, top 4 at worst. The guy sucks at quarterback. Let's just be real. He cannot throw the football. You know the guy, the flag football quarterback who came out and said he's the best quarterback in the world or whatever?
No.
Oh, you haven't watched that? All right, go look it up. It's hilarious. He's better than Anthony Richardson at quarterback. Anthony Richardson is a fullback, so maybe he's good for fantasy. Tim Tebow was decent for fantasy at one point, but he's not a good quarterback, so I'll be away from him. Next, let's lead into that. Amon-Ra Pacheco. I want one of the top 3 quarterbacks in my mind. Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes is the guy I've gotten in both leagues so far because he's going at much less cost than those other guys. So he's my target. I think he bounces back off a season where they were bad statistically and offensively. And I think Mahomes has an absolute monster year. But I want Allen, Hurts, or Mahomes. Next,
I know that Mahomes over under yardage for the year of passing yards is pretty high compared to most quarterbacks. Stroud's is actually surprisingly high.
Stroud too, yeah. Well, Stroud only runs, so that makes sense. Next guy, Deebo Samuel. I like him in the middle of the second round. I like him for $40 to $45 in auction. I think he's being way underdrafted. And just so people know, yes, there is a knock on him. He does get injured a lot. He has never worked out and never been in the shape he is coming into this season. He's taken things seriously. Yes, he can still get hurt. Yes, I still consider him injury prone, but everyone can get hurt. It's football. I love Deebo Samuel. Next, Derrick Henry's a great second-round running back. Great situation. His age is the one thing that worries you, but guess what? The Kings, he's a different breed, all right? So I would love betting on Henry in the second.
That team's running game is been powerful year after year, and now you plug Derrick Henry in there. I don't see it going bad.
He's great. Yep, I agree. Jalen Waddle, we already talked about him. Zay Flowers, he passes the eye test for me like no other. He dominated in the playoffs last year, and I think he's going to be an absolute stud. Jackson Smith and Jigba, I like in the 8th, 9th, 10th round, or as like a $4 to $6 guy. I think the talent shows up there in Seattle. I think Lockett's getting old, and I think he has a chance to be either as good or just behind DK Metcalf for fantasy. And lastly, I do really like Dalton Kincaid. I do want to get one of these top 5, 6 tight ends, but I like Kincaid a little bit more than the rest. So those are my guys: Amon-Ra, Checo, top 3 quarterback, Deebo, Derrick Henry, Waddle, Zay, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Kincaid. Those are the guys. And look at Pat. My guy Pat is in the chat. He is a Colts fan. He drafted AR, whatever you want to call him, Anthony Richardson in our league. He drafted him in our league. He loves him. He's either going to be the happiest guy in the world. Pat's a great guy. He's either going to be very happy this year, fantasy and the Colts doing well, or he's going to be hating life if they suck and he sucks. So good luck, Pat. Now, Nick's got some questions. We're going to wrap it up here. Yeah. Nick, give me these questions. We got a few questions. I think we got like one player or the other, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, fire away.
These are all fantasy questions, right?
Yep.
Who's your favorite quarterback?
Love you, Pat. I'll give you two quarterbacks. We just talked about one. Mahomes is my favorite to target, or Allen or Hurts, but I really like Mahomes there for the value. And then late round, I like one of the rookies. I'm good with taking either one, Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams. I love both of those guys. I think they're probably like 9th and 10th or 10th and 11th quarterback for me. And if I really miss on the quarterbacks, which I really haven't, but I would feel comfortable going in or at least taking a shot with one of those two. And guess what? If they absolutely suck, there's some late guys like Lawrence isn't being drafted, Herbert's not being drafted, Tua's barely drafted. So you can kind of fire some late shots, but I'll take those two rookies.
Nice. All right. Who's your favorite tight end?
Ooh, this is a tough
Don't
one.
tell me Kincaid.
I like Kincaid a lot. I like McBride a lot. Laporta and Kelsey obviously are the top two. But I think if you're going to go for value on tight end, I think you're really doing good with Ferguson or Njoku. I really do.
Okay.
I think Ferguson was an absolute stud the last half of last year. And guess what? CeeDee Lamb's still not in camp. Okay. And who else do they have? Brandon Cooks is old. I mean, no one else. Dak doesn't trust anyone else like Fergie. I think Ferguson's going to have a really good year. I drafted him in a league already. And Njoku, I mean, we saw it. We know he's got the potential to be an every down tight end. And when he gets the ball, he's electric. I mean, the quarterback play scares me a little bit, but you're not spending that much on either of these guys. I mean, if you're in your snake drafts, like these are 8th, 9th, 10th round picks that you're going to do well with.
Nice. Favorite rookie?
Malik Neighbors.
Oh
my God, I love this kid. I think he's going to be really good. Now, I will say that when I was really thinking about this till now, some sites he's being overdrafted for me. Okay. I think in the middle of the 4th, he's a solid pick, but I'm telling you, some of these sites now he's going in the 3rd round. I just listened to a CBS mock podcast, and he went in like the beginning of the 3rd round. That's a little too early for me, but I think in the 4th round as your wide receiver 2 or flex, he's going to be really solid. He is electric. Daniel Jones is not as bad as people say. I love how people are like arguing certain things. He can be fine with Daniel Jones, all right? Some people love George Pickens this year. Russell Wilson's worse than Daniel Jones, I can tell you that. And Justin Fields is just as good as Daniel Jones, okay? So if Neighbors is going to get 10, 11 targets a game, which he's going to be a solid play. So give me Neighbors.
Okay, I like it. And next question is this or that. Garrett Wilson or JJ?
This is tough. I'm going to go Garrett Wilson, actually. And this has changed recently. Maybe it's because Aaron Rodgers found him on like 3 touchdowns in practice yesterday or 2 days ago.
No-look bomb.
I'm just worried about Darnold. And I know Jefferson is the better receiver. I know he's arguably the best in the league. But and Jefferson's going really like 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th pick. And I think Garrett Wilson's probably like 12th, 13th, 14th. So you're getting him a few picks later. I think the talent, we know the talent's there. I mean, he was great. He was great. Zach Wilson was terrible, of course, but we know the talent's there. 3rd-year receiver. He's ready to break out. I'll take Garrett Wilson.
Okay. I can see it. Drake London or Chris Olave?
Oh, this is easy. Give me Drake London. All right. Give me Drake London with Kirk Cousins. If Kirk Cousins is old and he sucks and they have to take him out, give me Drake London with Michael Penix Jr. This kid is a stud. Chris Olave is a good player. I mean, I really do like Chris Olave, but Derek Carr, I mean, he can't support him. He cannot throw him the ball where he needs. We saw it last year. We're seeing it in training camp and preseason. Olave's great, but London's going to be the better guy. He's being drafted later than Olave. I have him much higher. I will tell you my ranks right now. I think normally people have London around 14, 15, and Olave around 10 or 11. I'll tell you right now, 4, 8. I've got Drake London as my 11th receiver and Chris Olave as my 14th. So I have him considerably higher, and you're probably going to be getting him cheaper. So give me Drake London.
Nice. All right. I probably know the answer. Actually, I don't know the answer to this one. Malik Neighbors or Michael Pittman Jr.?
Oh, I didn't realize we had a little crossover, but yeah, I don't like Anthony Richardson to support Pittman. I love Pittman's talent, and I think Daniel Jones is a better thrower of the football than Anthony Richardson. And clip this because I may look like the dumbest human being on earth in 3 months, but I will take Neighbors over Pittman because I actually think the quarterback play is equal, if not a little bit better, and I think Neighbors is just more electric.
Okay. Ken Walker or Josh Jacobs?
Love Ken Walker this year. He was going to be in that section of the my guys, but I saw this question. I should have done the same thing with Neighbors, but I'm all in on Ken Walker this year. I like Josh Jacobs a lot. They do have a lot of options there. And if you know Matt LaFleur, which you don't, but there's one thing he always does, and that's play a committee of running backs. He never likes to have one main guy. I know Walker is going to be the main guy. They love him in Seattle. If you hear the reports from camp, he is going to be their number one guy. Pat, I love you. The Colts fan agrees. Malik over Pittman for sure. I love you. I love you. I love you. Okay. Back to my point. Ken Walker over Josh Jacobs. Easy for me. And I think probably most people have it opposite, but I'll take Ken Walker.
All right. Zach Moss or Tony Pollard?
Ooh, I like both these guys actually. At cost this year, here I'll tell you this, and I've talked to a few people about this, but I love those running backs that you're getting 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th round. I mean, Zach Moss is the starter in Cincinnati. He was better than we ever thought he could be last year with the Colts. He showed signs that we never thought he could have. So why not throw a dart on a starting running back on a good offense, right? On the other side, Tony Pollard looked terrible the first 9-10 games of last year. He looked terrible. People forget he broke his freaking leg in the playoffs the year before. It was a miracle he was ready for the start of last season. The last half of last season, he looked way better. And then to throw the cherry on top, the preseason game. I haven't seen Pollard run like that in 2 years. He broke a 20, 30-yard run. I never seen him run that fast. I'm in on Tony Pollard. I got him on both my teams I've drafted so far. So I don't know if I can – if I had to pick one or the other, I'd probably go Pollard, but I like both these guys.
Yeah, Zach Moss, I know he's going to be the starter, but I think he was in some high percentage that he never broke like 13 miles per hour in his runs. So,
well,
yeah.
And also, you know, everyone's on that Chase Brown hype train. And usually when that happens, it was like last year. What was last year? It was Brian Robinson and someone else, or I don't know. And it's always just the more steady guy who ends up getting more work. So I could see Zach Moss actually being the guy, even though Chase Brown is being drafted everywhere. But I think that's our last question, right?
That's the last one.
Now I know you're keeping your cards close to your chest. But give me one guy. Give me one guy that you absolutely love this year that you could just see yourself drafting, maybe a little bit ahead of where they're going, or just someone that you really like.
I wasn't really prepared for this. Let me see if I got a guy in here. It might be Josh Jacobs. I definitely like him more than you like him.
All right. What, you think the offense or what? Give me something.
I just think he's going a lot later than where he should be. And I think he's going to be sneaky good because he had a bad season last year. I think it's affected his draft this year, and I don't think it should as much as it has.
And he's on a better offense. I'll give you that. I just really like Ken Walker in that question. I'm not out on Jacobs. I think he's probably like a 3rd or 4th round pick, depending on your site. The ADPs are all over the place. ESPN versus Yahoo versus Sleeper. I mean, they've never been more different. So I think that depending on what site you're on, you can always take a little bit of advantage. But Nick, they're already roasting you in the group chat, man. They're roasting you. Not good. Yeah. Not good. All right. Well, yeah, that's it for show 1. Okay. We hit you with our futures. We're going to post our 2 rosters from the league I commission on Instagram. And the bets, of course. But we're going to post the roster side by side. Please go and vote on the Instagram. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What else? Anything else, Nick? Or are we done?
I've got nothing. Let's cut it.
All right. We appreciate you all. Appreciate the chat. And we'll see you either next week or the week after.
Sounds good. Let me find my mouse.
Peace.
Peace.
Anthony Richardson pick.